Hey guys, how you doing? This is Brother Bill, and I'm out here in the garden, and I've got this one row. I just take these post hole diggers like you see here, and I go through there and I dig my hole not that deep. Let's see here, about 7-8 inches deep, and I've got all the holes dug. I've got those plants that are ready. They're up and ready to go in the ground. I've been waiting. They got a little leggy, but it's going to be okay. And then what I do, once I get the holes dug, you can see all this is rabbit manure. And I'm going to go down each hole. And I'm going to put some rabbit manure in every single hole. And then I'll come back and lay those plants in the hole. And then come back and cover them up. And that's all I do for at this point anyway on these tomatoes. And I do peel the bottom leaves off. So it's not to touch the ground, but that's what we've got right here, and we get a big amen right there from John, and we'll get these in the ground. Well, actually I'll show you the next step, and then we'll get them completely covered up. All right, I'll be right back. All right guys, you can see I've got the manure in the hole, the rabbit manure. These are beefsteaks that are come up and they're ready to roll. And all I do with a tomato is I take these bottom leaves off. You can see right there. It's not root bound or anything. It's got a good root system. It's on its way of being leggy though. So all I do is drop it in there. And I do this all the way down through there until I get them all dropped in the hole. And then I'll come back and cover them up. So we've got the hole dug, about 6-7 inches. I've got the rabbit manure. And now dropping these tomatoes in the hole, and then we'll cover them up. Okay, we'll be right back. All right guys, I'm back, and I've got all those tomato plants dropped in the hole. As you can see, I do run lines to help me keep those straight to save space, and just help me keep it organized. Okay, I did pick the bottom leaves off these plants, and now what I'm going to do is cover these up, and it's really nothing to it. These I just set them in there like that, give it a little press down, and the dirt that I pulled out of there, all I'm doing is covering it back up, and that is it. As you can see right there. Okay, let me get that finished. Now I would do that all the way down and make sure it's standing straight. I'll get these done, and I'll be right back. All right guys, let me bring you in close. Okay, that's what you're looking like all the way down. That's 40 celebrity tomato plants, and I got more beefsteaks. I'm waiting on the empires to come up, the large cherries, which are the big cherry tomatoes, and some sunray, and then we'll be on tomatoes. I did put out 3 rows of corn. No, wait a second. 4 more rows of corn today. That gives me a total of 6 rows of corn, and a row of beans, bush beans, and 1 row of field peas so far. So we're getting a good handle on it now, but this is where we are right now for the tomatoes. All right then. All right guys, I'm in here in the greenhouse. As you can see, we got some small tomatoes there coming up. Although that is already came up, and as you go down through there, there's some other tomatoes that's come along a little better, and some of these are replants because we lost some in a couple days frost. These are cucumbers. It's a pickling cucumber and a Space Master cucumber. With the Space Master grows like a bush, and they're an excellent cucumber for just eating and pickling. And we've got some white cucumbers down here, more tomato plants. I'm going to grow all kinds of tomatoes this year best I can. As you can see there, some squash, zucchini, these peppers I'm going to have to replant. That frost just didn't do anything for them. Over here is Gracie's replant of her zinnias. We got 3 trays of those, 2 trays of marigold, some cosmos, some lavender. The lavender has yet to come up. Don't know what's going on with it. But another half row of zinnias. And down here, I've got some corn as backup, because year after year the crows will pull some out, and I just replace it with that. So I try to stay ahead of the game on that. We got some sweet peas over there, some squash, some daisies, and this is a replant also. As you can see, different things in there: spaghetti squash, cantaloupe, poinsettia cucumbers, fancy pack cucumber, and so forth. And so there's the greenhouse for right now. So it's looking good as well. I do got some things out here on the table that are ready to go in the ground as well. And let me just walk you over here and I'll just show you those things. So we've got these right here are zucchinis. This here, some sunflowers that are going to have to go around the garden. I've got some sunflowers out there in each row. Some sweet bananas, and I'm not sure what Gracie planted. She said it's a surprise, so I'll just have to wait. I did go ahead and put some of the sweet pepper, no, actually these are bell peppers, in this new raised bed. And all the way around this bed is going to be onions. You can see there's the onions. Can you see that? Yeah, right there. Those are onions going all the way around the border. And all those raised beds up there have onions. I do that to save space and actually use the space that I have, and the best that I can. And this little circular thing is going to be garlic. All right, here comes the train. I'll cut you off here. All right then, I'll be back. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Brother Bill, and I am back out in the garden. It's been a few days since the last part of that video. Had to cut it short because the train was coming through and I didn't want to blow your ears out. So let me catch you up. Now, I left off, we were planting tomatoes, and it has been, actually today is the 4th day since then, but you can see the tomatoes. They're looking really good. They're getting that green, dark green color on them. I did end up losing one over here because we did have, right there, but we did have several frost. I think it was 2, maybe 3 frost in those few days. It wasn't a heavy frost, but it was enough. So I had to come out here and put a little water on these to keep them from dying on me, but I did end up losing one. That's going to happen. No big concern. I've got hundreds of tomatoes in that greenhouse, so we can replace it. But the green beans are up. This is a bush green bean, and I noticed today, I come down through there, and the groundhog, now he lives over there in that barn, and I've left him alone for 4 or 5 years, hadn't bothered him, but he loves green beans. So if y'all got any ideas how to take care of that problem, y'all let me know without having to take him out. Hopefully I won't have to do that. But if you got any ideas on that, how to keep the groundhog out, that would be appreciated. But anyway, I got these peppers here. Most of these are banana peppers, and they're doing well. The rest of that row, I've only got about 30 feet out there of peppers. I'm going to fill that whole row up with some bananas, more bananas, some of the Hungarian wax. They're the big yellow ones. Peppers, some jalapenos, and some bell peppers. I think there's a couple. There's a deep purple I want to plant just for the presentation of the food when you cook it, because it looks nice. They don't taste any different. But the normal green bell, and I think there's some red ones. But since then, the corn had not come up yet. But there you go. Now, the crows know it's there, and they're going to be keeping an eye on this corn. But I've got a solution that I hope is going to work. I was watching Metcalf Justro over there at Metcalf Mills, and he used that VHS tape around his corn, and that prevented them. So I'm going to try that. I do have 120 seeds already up in the greenhouse, so if I need to replace, because I do want full stands in this corn. I've got 4 more rows over here of corn, and they're actually already up as well. Not as high as the others, but they are up. I went ahead and planted this small fence here for some McCaslin green beans. That is a runner. It's a very long, large bean. My neighbor Gail, she loves those, so we're going to grow some there. Typically, there's a whole row, but it's just way too much work for me to keep up with because it's just me, and when Gracie can help me in the garden, so I don't want to put something out I can't take care of. And this is for another neighbor. This is a field pea, very old bean, been around for a long time, and we will pull those beans off for her. These are actually saved from last year, and they all came up, so it looks good as well. I did today go ahead, because it's supposed to rain today, went ahead and fertilized 2 rows, and I got 2 rows of Clemson okra planted as well. And as you can see down through here, every row is marked with a sunflower. Now these are not the mammoth sunflowers that I typically plant. Those things get 12, 15 feet tall. This is a different variety. There's going to be different colors of these sunflowers. So I'm anxious to see how those are going to look. And as you can see, all our beds, well, most of our beds are bordered with onions. I have a couple of tomato plants in there. I did plant some beets over there in that one. That bed is filled with nothing but the compost from the chickens from last year. So I'm anxious, and they've already up. They came up in 3 days, so we're looking good there. Still need to plant something in this one. That right there is just a compost pile that I've been working on. The groundhog. This was filled with beautiful broccoli. And I put that little orange net thing over top of it. Look what he's doing. Look at that. Eating it up. Gotta do something. So anyway, I was able to save a couple. Those are actually, yeah, that is broccoli. That's what I put in there. So those are broccoli plants that's probably not going to do anything. And that's okay. I've got some more broccoli up next to the house. It does better up there anyway. This bed right here, this is a 4x8. And this is, what did I plant? Oh, garlic. It's a whole bed of garlic. So that's up and running. This is one more bed that I need to get something in. I'll probably put some, actually the lemon cucumbers do very well in these raised beds. I may do something like that. And over here you can see, look how green that is. That's my carrot bed. Typically carrots are hard to germinate, but for some reason, the mixture of the soil in this particular bed never have any problem. It's prolific in this. These are the little dwarf carrots. Some are going to say, well, you overseeded that. And I'm like, okay, that's good. So anyway, we're going to leave that. I'm not going to thin that out because I use that to feed the rabbits, and they absolutely love it. I'm not a much carrot eater, but I do that for them. And here's our potatoes in these beds. You can see I've already covered them once, and they popped out again over the last few days. I got 2 of these, and of course we got those potatoes across the street. We ended up planting 2 more rows 100 foot long. Somebody dropped off a box of seed potatoes. And right here, as you can see, the onions. This is compost that we had made, and the only fertilizer I put in here so far is just some rabbit manure and for the nitrogen. But you can see they're looking really good, and there's 100 bulbs in here. What we've got there. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to leave you with that shot right there, the creek. And until next time, I hope y'all take care. Hey, and one more thing I wanted to say. I plant by the seasons. Now, it may not be what you think I'm saying when I say planting by the seasons. Typically, most gardeners, I should say, will plant according to the farmer's almanac, going off of the seasons of the sun and the moon and all that kind of things. And others will plant on Passover, for instance, that kind of thing. And that's what they consider seasons, in which I do not disagree with that. It's just my seasons are a little bit different because, for one, Passover, it rained terrible and was unable to plant, and I knew I need to get something in the ground pretty quick. So my season is, if I get a day off, that's a good sign, and for me, I need to get this garden planted. So that's how I plant. I plant by the signs and seasons, based on when I'm for here, for where we live. Different things work for different folks, and I'm all glad about that, not angry about that at all. I think that's awesome. I think it's the blessings of God that He allows each one of us to plant according to what works for us, and we're not held to one time to plant, or what we should plant, or how we should even take care of things, because you know, over the years of gardening, I've heard all kinds of different stories and things like that, but it becomes superstitious, and I don't want to be superstitious about growing or planting anything. Some will tell you, for instance, to not water your tomato plants on top because of disease, and okay, that's fine for them, but you know, it rains from above, and I never quite understood that. But if it works for them, I think that's great. But to impose something like that on someone else, I don't think that's necessary, because there's been times I've had to work so much in the evening. The only time I ever had to water is in broad daylight. The sun would be beaming down, but I knew the garden had to have water, and so I just took the opportunity to throw some water on whatever I had planted, and it worked out fine. And so I'm just saying, I do what works for us here, and I would just encourage everybody to do what works for them as well, and just ask the Lord to bless whatever you've done. And it just always seems to work out here, and He's always provided a great abundance for us, not only for ourselves, but typically we save 20%, and I store that for ourselves, and that's enough to get us through the whole year and be able to have dinners over here at the house and provide food for the folks that come, friends and that kind of thing. Plus we give out the other 80%, or we may sell a little bit here or there, like we did last year, to provide a little supplemental income to buy seed or straw or feed or something like that, to help us the following year. Not to make any profit, because we're not a profit little homestead here. We're not full-blown homestead anyway, but this is just, we love to garden. We like to take care of some animals the best we can and not overdo it, so as to be good stewards of what we've been given. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with this shot. Look at that. Creek is flowing. I sure hope you guys have an awesome day today and an awesome week, and me and Gracie will get back with you, and I just hope that you are blessed this week, and that your crops are going to bloom and produce all that you want it to, and we just thank God for what He's given us, and we just hope you're well. So until next time, me and Grace are signing out, so y'all take care until